And joining us tonight to discuss the origins of Women's History Month and the women's rights movement are Janine Lanza and Betsy Lublin, both associate professors in the Department of History at Wayne State University. Welcome, and thank you both for coming by today.
Thank you for having us.
Before we dive into the history of this month, tell us a little bit about your specialty. I'll start with you, perhaps, Janine, with how you got into your studies of gender.
Well, you know, I remember when I was in college and I was taking classes, and I thought there are no women that were reading in classes. And I kind of wanted to examine a little bit more who are the women that we could be having in our classes, and that kind of led me into studying women's history.
Great.
In terms of me, I focus on modern Japan, and particularly the late 19th, early 20th centuries, have done a lot of work on the Japan Women's Christian Temperance Union.
Okay.
So that organization came out of, or my interest in it came out of interest in women's social movements in the United States, which I had studied just a little bit in college, but as Janine said, not much, because back in the late 80s, women's studies classes were developing, but there was not a plethora of opportunities to really explore gender, sexuality, women's studies as academic disciplines.
Yeah, it seems it's still evolving so quickly. That wasn't very long ago, just the 80s, that progress was still being made. So when we talk about Women's History Month, it is March. We have just a few days left. It's not the most talked about, it's not the most celebrated month, so whichever of you wants to take it, tell us a little bit about the origins and when it started.
So it actually began as Women's History Week, and there was a commission on the status of women in a county in California. Very grassroots, women decided to announce the week of March 7th as Women's History Week. The following year, 1979, news of that spread around the United States, and women's groups in all states just not spontaneously, but sort of organized these weeks. That led to a national movement to get President Jimmy Carter to sign a declaration calling for National Women's History Week, which was very much in conjunction then with International Women's Day, what became International Women's Day. But then in 1987, through congressional decree, declaration, it was shifted to National Women's History Month, with women's organizations very much behind that. So in terms of this Women's History Month, it dates back then to 1987 as a month.
Sure. And Janine, why is it necessary for us to have a Women's History Month in the 2020s?
Well, I think there's still a lot of people who think, what did women do? What did women do in the past? They had babies, they got married, they took care of the home. That the reason that we don't read about women is that they weren't writing, they weren't creating. And I think it's really important to educate. You know, we both teach women's history. And, you know, it's incredibly gratifying because students say, I had no idea. I didn't know I didn't know there were women philosophers.
Yeah.
I didn't know there were women artists. They didn't know that women didn't have the right to vote in the United States until 1920. They've no clue.
Sure.
And so there's still a lot of lack of knowledge, you know, that there's so much to cover, and women's lives just seem a little, you know, rote, revolving around the house. And I think it's important to kind of open that up, show people that it's much more of a rich past that women have.
Yeah. Have you had a similar experience, Betsy, with your classes? Are students surprised to learn the depth of this history?
Very much so. I mean, we go back to Confucianism and the influence of Confucianism in East Asia in the 1600s, and students, you know, are surprised at that point about the role that women had, which was very much in the home, without any rights. In some cases, women had no names. They were identified by their relationship with men. And so they see that, and then students come up to a more contemporary time, and they think about, you know, the women's rights movement in the late 19th century, efforts to abolish foot binding, concubinage, licensed prostitution, the right to vote, even coming to up today, and I'm sure you do this in your class, on gender in the modern world, thinking about, you know, sort of the global impact of the Me Too movement.
Right.
And students don't know that history. But what I found that teaching about East Asia is then it helps them to contextualize then more what they learn about American history and women in American history and the contributions of women in American history.
The conversation in the U.S. about women's history so often revolves around suffrage, around voting. Where do you think the conversation should be centered today?
Oh, that's a great question. I really think it should be centered around when I teach, first wave feminism is about getting the vote. Second wave feminism is about passing laws to enforce, equal wages, equal rights. And third wave feminism is about changing attitudes. And I think we're still there. I think we still need to there's an understanding that, yes, women have the right to vote, women should be paid equally, but I think there's still a great deal of social attitudes that see women as less ambitious, less able, really not fully capable of doing what men can do. And I think that that's the attitude that needs to be changed, and only then will we be able, as Dr. Biden said, put an end point to the push for women's rights.
Would you say women are still fighting some of the same battles, or maybe refighting battles that people thought had been won?
Very much so. I mean, I think a key part of the feminist movement is this whole idea that women can be both mothers and have a career. And that is something that we are definitely still fighting. And there are a lot of structural impediments to women's ability to actually function fully in those kinds of roles. And both are equally meaningful and fulfilling. But again, that's, I think, something that we're still definitely facing.
Yeah, and just that's an example. You need affordable daycare, but you also need the belief that women can be mothers and be equals in the workplace.
And that they're not shirking one by doing the other.
Right.
For someone who wants to learn more, maybe they didn't get enough when they were going through school back in the day, or it was a very, limited education. What would you recommend? Where should you go? How can you kind of educate yourself?
There's several really good PBS documentary series. One of the best ones, surprisingly, is Ken Burns did one about Prohibition. And the whole first episode is about the women's rights movement.
Really?
Because it was so tied up to Prohibition.
Wow.
And then there's a good documentary series on suffrage. So I think for people who are not trained historians, not going to sit down and read a bunch of books, some of these PBS documentaries are really informative and well done.
All right. Janine and Betsy, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your expertise.
Great.
When we return, we will introduce you to a local CEO who has made it her mission to create natural handmade products right here in Metro Detroit. Stay with us. I don't know if there's been a better time to start a brand new news operation.
The newsroom was pretty much starting from scratch.
It's fresh, it's innovative.
Lots of energy, lots of passionate reporters.
Knowing what we're starting here puts so much joy in my heart.
We have reporters who are embedded in these communities.
Many people throughout St. Clair Shores have been fighting to save this water tower.
If there's a miracle out there, get a hold of me.
We are part of the neighborhood. Our newsroom is part of your neighborhood.
Residents here on Stansbury say they are fed up with all this flooding that keeps happening.
We shouldn't have to live like this.
Telling the stories that otherwise nobody would know about.
Now, AJ, you went to the downtown boxing gym and you really got to see how this gym is impacting kids' lives.
Yeah, Chris, as soon as I walked in the building, it was very uplifting.
It's a boxing gym, but it's more than boxing. We do homework. We help them with the SAT.
When it comes to the weather, it's forecasting what's going to fall on your driveway, when is it going to happen, and how might it actually affect your day-to-day life.
Hundreds of people continue to call in reporting problems throughout the county.
Cleanup crews working all throughout Metro Detroit.
Get them down and get them cleaned up.
Local news to me means we're in your community, we're telling stories that matter to you, that affect you, that maybe we can get change and things done in your community.
She was born without a right arm, and then her legs didn't grow, I guess, the way that they should have.
But for 20-year-old Fortune High School alum Sumaya, she doesn't let that, or anything else for that matter, get in her way.
So you have a favorite button over there?
Yeah, you want to press it?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and...
This is my favorite.
I hope everyone watching that piece in particular says, I want to help that little girl and help that family and help get her to college.
Well, we are rethinking the way local news is done in the 21st century and how to tell the most important stories in a compelling way.
You can get news anywhere, but for us, we're a fresh face with a new perspective, and we're trying to make a difference in the community to tell stories that matter to you.
I think we're here to listen and actually hear what you're saying, and we're putting together a newscast that will show that.
I want to tell those people's stories because it's needed. Detroit is ready. Get ready, because here we come.
Reporting in Dearborn Heights.
Live in Wayne County. Reporting in Adrian.
Live in Livonia.
Reporting from South Lyon, Kelly Vaughn,
CBS News Detroit.
Welcome back. From oils to cream to handmade soaps and shower bombs, a Metro Detroit woman is taking self-care to the next level with her natural bath and body care products. Joining us now is the CEO of Bath Savvy Naturals, Shannon Reeves. Thank you for being here, Shannon.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us about your background a little bit before we get into your products, which look amazing. We just saw a little peek at them. We're talking about Women's History Month and women in the workforce, women entrepreneurs. You came into this about a decade ago, is that fair to say?
Just about, yes. Just about.
And you weren't, from day one, you didn't decide to be an entrepreneur. You had a different job before. Tell us about that journey.
Yeah, so we're originally from Flint, Michigan, our family, and I went to Michigan State and I learned more about marketing and business, and I got into it a lot. I just was very passionate about it. So I went into marketing, had a corporate job for probably about 10 years. And then the crash came of 08, 09. And my mom had already started with formulating products just for my sister and myself. And I decided to try to put my passion in that direction and build our business from there. So.
And it's going well.
It's been going good, yes.
What does it mean to you to be running a business as a woman?
It means a lot. It definitely takes a lot. It takes a lot of creativity and tenacity and really just staying with it. But it's such a pride point for me because you get to look back and look at your journey, see how far you've came, and we're really proud from, just being a small handmade in the kitchen business to now we have a storefront. Our products are in 2 Meijer stores. We're also in Whole Foods. So we really have built the business, but it just it's my passion just to pour back into my family and really provide our customers a product that they love.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah. So there's a history with these products. Your mom was already kind of making them around the house. Tell me about that.
Yes, so my mom is definitely a naturopath. She loves learning about all the natural benefits of butters and oils is kind of where we started, and she was telling us about it, but when you're young, you're not really sure exactly why we should do this. But as I got more educated on the ingredients and really what benefits these natural butters and oils have on our skin and how many chemicals are actually in the soaps and lotions we use that are store-bought, it just fueled me even more to really put my all into these products and bring them to the market. They're needed, and people love to just feel good, smell good, and do something healthy for themselves. So.
Do you think people realize they're basic products that they're buying from, any grocery store? Talk about those a little bit. You just mentioned chemicals. There's a lot of ingredients sometimes that people may not be aware they're putting onto themselves, right?
Absolutely. Everything that looks and smells good is not necessarily good for you. And it is the exception rather than the rule to have more of a healthy product on the shelf. So as I was learning, that is where my passion came from, that we can build products that don't have all the chemicals and all the harmful ingredients. And I think people are definitely getting much more aware and reading the labels and picking products that will benefit them and their family, because at the end of the day, there's not a lot of regulation with some of the skincare and body cares we learned from some of the big brands. So that's my passion, just to put out a healthy product that is, good for the whole family and head to toe, you feel good and smell good.
Yeah. So how do we get from, the at-home recipe? Are you guys are hand making it?
Yes, we still hand make everything in small batches.
Okay.
We've opened a storefront in Ferndale, Michigan.
Nice.
So we are kind of in the neighborhood, but we want to keep that boutique feel. So we're open on the weekends, and our guests can come in and shop our self-care products. But another fun thing that came out of us getting a storefront is we started hosting events called the Scent Experience.
Okay.
So some of the pictures you see here with the bottles and the oils are part of that, and you can come in and create your own scent and make your own product as a party with friends.
Very nice.
So that has been kind of a painting with a twist kind of structure, but just getting to make something that you love, that you put together. You can add different flowers and all types of customization. So that's turned our products into something that's more of an event for other people, and they love that.
Very nice. And you already mentioned you are available in some stores that people may already be shopping at in the Detroit area. Which stores are those?
So we're in Meijer, 2 Meijer stores. They're smaller format stores, which is Woodward Corner, and that's right on Woodward and 13. And then we started at the Detroit Meijer right downtown. It's brand new, so nice. And we've been in Whole Foods Detroit for many years. So we're in those few. You can also purchase online at any time at valsavvy.com.
Yeah.
And we ship all over the country. We ship all the time.
Those had to be huge moments when you got those deals to be selling in these huge stores.
Absolutely. And it just fueled us to keep going and know that we're on the right path. But definitely the stores have been looking for smaller businesses to support. And I can say that the businesses we sell to, both Meijer and Whole Foods, have been really, really beneficial for our business and a lot of small brands in the area. They've really pushed to support you and market and promote you.
That is great to hear. Before we wrap up, for other women out there who maybe have a passion on the side, something that they could see themselves turning into a business, what advice would you have for them?
Yes, I would say it's worth it, but it's not easy. Yeah. So continue. If it's your passion, it's something that you know you have to work hard at. So with a passion, you just keep putting in, and you'll look up and you'll be a lot further than where you started. And everybody looks at the overnight success, but it's not really even about that. It's about just pursuing your passion, having a quality product that your customers enjoy, that they appreciate, and just giving something good out into the world.
Yeah.
So I say, keep going, ladies, you can do it.
Yeah, even when it looks overnight, usually there's a much longer story there.
Absolutely, yes.
That's for sure.
They say it takes 10 years to be an overnight success.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
All right, this is Shannon Reeves with Bath Savvy Naturals. Make sure to pick up some of those products or check them out, see them if you see them in your local grocery store. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
After the break, we will introduce you to an organization that's offering young Detroiters employment opportunities in youth-led research. I don't know if there's been a better time to start a brand new news operation.
The newsroom was pretty much starting from scratch.
It's fresh, it's innovative.
Lots of energy, lots of passionate reporters.
Knowing what we're starting here puts so much joy in my heart.
We have reporters who are embedded in these communities.
Many people throughout St. Clair Shores have been fighting to save this water tower.
If there's a miracle out there, get a hold of me.
We are part of the neighborhood. Our newsroom is part of your neighborhood.
Residents here on Stansbury say they are fed up with all this flooding that keeps happening.
We shouldn't have to live like this.
Telling the stories that otherwise nobody would know about.
Now, AJ, you went to the downtown boxing gym and you really got to see how this gym is impacting kids' lives.
Yeah, Chris, as soon as I walked in the building, it was very uplifting.
It's a boxing gym, but it's more than boxing. You know, we do homework. We help them with the SAT.
When it comes to the weather, it's forecasting what's going to fall on your driveway, when is it going to happen, and how might it actually affect your day-to-day life.
Hundreds of people continue to call in reporting problems throughout the county.
Cleanup crews working all throughout Metro Detroit.
Get them down and get them cleaned up.
Local news to me means we're in your community, we're telling stories that matter to you, that affect you, that maybe we can get change and things done in your community.
She was born without a right arm, and then her legs didn't grow, I guess, the way that they should have.
But for 20-year-old Fortune High School alum Sumaya, she doesn't let that, or anything else for that matter, get in her way.
So you have a favorite button over there?
Yeah, you want to press it?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and...
This is my favorite.
I hope everyone watching that piece in particular says, I want to help that little girl and help that family and help get her to college.
Well, we are rethinking the way local news is done in the 21st century and how to tell the most important stories in a compelling way.
You can get news anywhere, but for us, We're a fresh face with a new perspective, and we're trying to make a difference in the community, to tell stories that matter to you.
I think we're here to listen and actually hear what you're saying, and we're putting together a newscast that will show that.
I want to tell those people's stories because it's needed. Detroit is ready. Get ready, because here we come.
Reporting in Dearborn Heights.
Live in Wayne County.
Reporting in Adrian.
Live in Livonia.
Reporting from South Lyon, Kelly Vaughn,
CBS News Detroit.
Welcome back. Local Circles is a nonprofit organization offering Detroit teens between the age of 15 and 19 experience in leadership training, community engagement, and job readiness. Here is a youth researcher talking about her experience with Local Circles.
My name is Paige Braden, and today I will be speaking on behalf of Local Circles. My peers and I recently had the honor of participating in a mental health research and action project that I can proudly say had a positive impact on youth's mental health. As we began our research, we first began talking about mental health, what it is, and how it is perceived. As we went further into the topic, we discussed how the pandemic affected teens' mental health and how the community was possibly overlooking it. We as teens thought, hey, it's time for something to change, and dove deeper into our research by conducting surveys and interviews with teens, conferring about various coping mechanisms and triggers for mental health. We learned a few coping mechanisms that'll help when dealing with mental health, which consist of writing, listening to music, doing yoga, painting, and just simply talking to someone. Many different things can trigger a mental health crisis, ranging from having a bad day to learning how to survive a pandemic. Our research granted us with a lot of data, so we took what we learned and we turned that into our action project. To kick off our action project, we took a look at teens who are most disadvantaged and sought to help them. Local Circle leaders guided us as we were empowered to help homeless teens learn more about their mental health, and so we called shelters to see what we could do. After talking with shelter officials, we were stunned to find out that they didn't need the necessities like food, water, and hygiene products, but what they needed were things like cleaning supplies and laundry products, as many donors forgot they needed things like that. But before we rushed into shelters and youth centers with gifts, we took a look back on our research and decided to try it on ourselves first, so we'll be prepared to share it. Then we went into shelters and youth centers and led painting sessions, writing sessions, provided necessities, and even hung up a few posters about mental health around schools. This led us through a successful action project that permitted us to help teens. Furthermore, I can say I've learned an abundant amount of information about mental health and greatly enjoyed the experience with Local Circles. Thank you all for listening to me, and have a great day.
And joining us now is the founder and executive director of Local Circle Detroit, Nicole Jurek. Nicole, thanks for joining us today. What an incredible program. That was a great video.
Thank you.
So that was a youth researcher, sounding like an adult researcher, describing her findings and the action project. Tell us how this all started and came to be.
Well, I started Local Circles 6 years ago because I was working with teens in Detroit in community service. We had a community service program, and there was a summer in particular that I remember where we were recruiting young people for summer service programs, and they all kind of pushed back, and I was like, what's going on? And they said, Nicole, I need money. And so I asked them about that. I said, well, you know, what are you looking to do? They needed to get a job. They didn't know how to get a job. They didn't know where to get a job. They felt like they didn't really know what it meant to have a job. And I thought, you know, I can work with this. So what I did is I just put it all together. I said, we can employ young people. We can help them make a contribution to their community through research and action, and that's what Local Circles is.
Yeah, and more than a small paycheck, I assume they're getting, it sounds like this is something that is really going to send these kids on, ideally, a trajectory for their life, right? Are you finding that?
Yeah, the kinds of skills that they get through doing the research can take them anywhere, really. Yeah. So if you think about a research project, first you have to ask questions. So one of the first things we do is we teach young people how to ask questions, because a lot of young people are discouraged from asking questions. And so that can be a little bit of a barrier, but we celebrate it and get over it. And then they have to plan out a whole research project and actually do it. And once they do that, they feel like they can accomplish a lot of things. And then they have to plan out an action project and execute it. And once the action project is done, they start to see all the different ways that they can use these skills. right now, like I want them to have the skills so that they can use them right now, but they can also use them into their future. So it helps them with college readiness, it helps them with job readiness.
Yeah, that's incredible. So her action project there had to do with mental health and resources. Do they always have that sort of theme, or is it anything they're interested in?
It's anything they're interested in. So we work in a cohort model. Every group works on one project together, and like I said, they start with those questions. So what kinds of things matter to teens right now in their community? They decide on a particular topic, and we work on that one topic for the entire year.
What are some other topics that have come up?
Right now, our young people are working on themes of keeping peace within themselves when they feel the world is judging them. And we have a second group working on ways that teens can love themselves. And the things that they're finding are exposure to nature, exposure to music, are things that help young people feel peace, and so they're promoting those ideas through things like music workshops and nature walks.
Yeah, give me an idea of the scale. Like, how many kids are involved in this? About, I know between 15 and 19, did we say 18?
Yes.
Okay.
So teens who live in Detroit, ages 15 to 19, we work with 10 youth, we've worked up to 15 youth at a time in one group. Last summer we worked with 2 groups, and we work with them throughout the school year following the summer, and this summer we're looking to work with 3 groups for a total of 30 young people.
Okay.
So in a year we end up working with about 50 young people over the course of a year, and we're working towards even more.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So you guys have been around for several years now. Are there graduates? Do we call them graduates of the program?
I call them alumni.
Alumni.
Yeah.
From the first couple of years who have gone off, has it started to inform their choices and what they do afterward?
We do have some young people who, well, we have a lot of young people who've made it all the way through college, which we're really proud of. And we do have some young people who are specifically interested in research.
Yeah.
They don't all choose research, and that's okay. The whole point is that we want our young people to be able to identify their own interests, and lots of times young people will come to us not having identified a lot of their own interests, and so our research process helps them learn how to figure some of those things out.
It seems like the experience of actually taking on that action project and seeing something change because of what you did could be life-changing for a kid, right?
Yeah, it's really eye-opening. My favorite part is actually the action project, because a lot of our young people don't believe they're going to do it.
Yeah.
They don't believe they're actually going to do the action project, and then of course they do. We set them up for success, and the projects are always really great, and they always feel really proud of themselves. And once they see that they can do it, I think it's just really eye-opening, like you said. Yeah.
I mean, even for adults, until you've done something, you don't really know if you can do it. There's no better experience than that.
You can read, you can look at you can watch YouTube videos, you can look at a process, but until you actually do something, you don't have that confidence in yourself, and that's what our program really allows young people to do. Yeah,
that's really cool. Okay, so obviously people are going to hear this. Parents, maybe teens themselves, if you're watching. Thanks. How can they get involved? Where do they go?
Well, our website, everything is on our website, so localcirclesdetroit.org. We also have social media on Instagram and Facebook. We're Local Circles DET. And young people can join our program through our website. It's pretty easy to find. We're enrolling right now young people who live in Detroit for our summer program, which is in partnership with Grow Detroit Young Talent. And we also right now are recruiting young people to participate in our action projects, which are happening in April, and you can find that information.
From the previous cohort, or
from
this
the
year's?
cohort that's working right now.
Very nice.
They're doing their action projects in April.
So is that a way to maybe kind of dip your toe?
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So young people want to dip their toe. Our action projects are the place to go, and you can find that information on social media. And if parents are interested, also our website has that sign-up form. And anyone who's interested in helping us get connected to resources can also contact us through our
Always
website
need the resources. All right. This is Nicole Jurek with Local Circle Detroit. I almost blanked on your name, but you guys are doing amazing work.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see what some of your students do going forward.
Thanks.
Good luck with the rest of
Thank you
this
for having me.
cohort. All right, when we return, we will tell you about a new interactive marketing and business school that is coming to Detroit. Stay with us. I don't know if there's been a better time to start a brand new news operation.
The newsroom was pretty much starting from scratch.
It's fresh, it's innovative.
Lots of energy, lots of passionate reporters.
Knowing what we're starting here put so much joy in my heart.
We have reporters who are embedded in these communities.
Many people throughout St. Clair Shores have been fighting to save this water tower.
If there's a miracle out there, get a hold of me.
We are part of the neighborhood. Our newsroom is part of your neighborhood.
Residents here on Stansbury say they are fed up with all this flooding that keeps happening.
We shouldn't have to live like this.
Telling the stories that otherwise nobody would know about.
Now, AJ, you went to the downtown boxing gym and you really got to see how this gym is impacting kids' lives.
Yeah, Chris, as soon as I walked in the building, it was very uplifting.
It's a boxing gym, but it's more than boxing. You know, we do homework. We help them with the SAT.
When it comes to the weather, it's forecasting what's going to fall on your driveway, when is it going to happen, and how might it actually affect your day-to-day life.
Hundreds of people continue to call in reporting problems throughout the county.
Cleanup crews working all throughout Metro Detroit.
Get them down and get them cleaned up.
Local news to me means we're in your community, we're telling stories that matter to you, that affect you, that maybe we can get change and things done in your community.
She was born without a right arm, and then her legs didn't grow, I guess, the way that they should have.
But for 20-year-old Fortune High School alum Sumaya, she doesn't let that, or anything else for that matter, get in her way.
So you have a favorite button over there?
Yeah, you want to dress it?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and...
This is my favorite.
I hope everyone watching that piece in particular says, I want to help that little girl and help that family and help get her to college.
Well, we are rethinking the way local news is done in the 21st century and how to tell the most important stories in a compelling way.
You can get news anywhere, but for us, we're a fresh face with a new perspective, and we're trying to make a difference in the community to tell stories that matter to you.
I think we're here to listen and actually hear what you're saying, and we're putting together a newscast that will show that.
I want to tell those people's stories because it's needed. Detroit is ready. Get ready because here we come.
Reporting in Dearborn Heights.
Live in Wayne County.
Reporting in Adrian.
Live in Livonia.
Reporting from South Lyon, Kelly Vaughn.
CBS News Detroit.
Welcome back. There's a new program coming to Detroit. True School is a marketing business school for small business owners that offers live classes and an interactive approach to learning. Here's a peek.
A lot of us are starting businesses, but not all of us know how to stay in business. But I got y'all. Enter True School, your marketing and business school that's kind of like school, but so much more fun. With all my experience working with some of the world's largest brands and smaller companies just like yours, I've learned a thing or two about how to market a business, how to make customers love you, and help it grow. We'll meet online, but we'll also get interactive, go on field trips, and host cool events. Experiences start soon. So sign up here. Come on, we can do this.
Very nice. Joining us now is Carlotta Tutt-Holloway. I'm sure you will recognize her from that video there. She is the founder and lead facilitator at True School. And I can tell you have a background in marketing. That's a great video.
Thank you very much.
So tell me how you transitioned into this role, because this wasn't what you were always doing.
Absolutely. So again, I'm a lifelong marketer, so I've worked in different ad agencies, global advertising agencies throughout my entire career. And some people caught a hold of that and they started asking me to teach marketing classes. And from there, I taught for a couple of years. Then they actually started asking me to teach full marketing cohorts and then marketing and entrepreneurship cohorts. So again, it started at an entrepreneur school. So started from marketing and then transitioned into teaching full cohorts in marketing and business and entrepreneurship.
And how did we arrive here at True School? What was the need that you saw that needed to be fulfilled?
Well, actually, I thoroughly enjoyed actually educating. I never thought I would be an educator. I was a marketer my whole career. So I thoroughly enjoyed it, but then I also enjoyed the experiences that I got with the different students. So I absolutely loved seeing their trajectories. How their businesses grew, how we kind of developed the small business community, myself involved. I mean, I may have been the leader of the classes, but I still considered myself a part of their community as well. And actually, I was a small business owner as well. I did have a small business outside of True School initially. So I have a marketing company, and True School is part of my marketing company, which is called Truewood Marketing. But years ago, I actually started out with a small business where I made natural bath and body care. So I've been ingrained in the entrepreneurial community in Detroit for quite a while. So that's kind of how it started. I just really enjoyed teaching Build Institute kind of hired me to, again, teach marketing and entrepreneurship. I enjoyed being a part of that, and I just wanted to do it on my own, since I'm not afraid of starting initiatives on my own, and especially when it comes to entrepreneurship, which I'm passionate about. So it's kind of like a no-brainer to me. I've been doing it for many, many years, and I just decided to do it on my own.
As a woman business owner, what is it about entrepreneurship that you love so much that you do want to share with others?
Actually, I love being able to kind of own my own destiny and own my own fate, but then also just being part of the entrepreneurial landscape and community in Detroit. I've just seen so many cool businesses come to fruition. I know so many beautiful entrepreneurs, especially women. I love to celebrate them, and I think it's just such a joy to see what they're doing. And they're doing so many diverse things as well. So I just love being part of the community. I mean, we really act as a community, and we support one another. And so I just love being a part of the community. And I think we're doing so many awesome and beautiful things. So I just want to celebrate that. And also I want to help.
Absolutely. So tell me about some of the students at True School. Obviously, you mentioned a lot of women, but I imagine people of all ages and backgrounds, right?
Yeah, well, True School is new, so we just had a launch last week. But many of the students that I've taught have been, they've run the gamut. So it's men and women that I've taught over the years. It's been a lot of younger people as well, and also I've taught a lot of creatives. So I taught a class specifically for creative entrepreneurs and how to create sustainable businesses. So not just how to market, but also how to create a business from the brand foundations on up, and then how to create the sustainable business, and then also creating a growth program as well for your business. So yeah, they run the gamut. They're artists, other types of creatives. There are people that are more technologically enhanced as well. So there's all types of business, retailers, you name it.
So many people would love to start a business, would love to work for themselves, but as you just kind of alluded to, from the ground up, there are a lot of steps there, and that can be overwhelming, can't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, oh, absolutely. I've learned firsthand from teaching over the last couple of years or so that there are definitely plenty of barriers for men and women and minorities in this business as well, and plenty of barriers to creating a successful business. But then also there's just some things that people just don't know, and that's why I wanted to start True School. I've just learned many people don't know their brand foundations. People don't know why it's important to know that. People don't even know where to start at all. So I've learned that even more so than I thought, people just need help. People just don't know where to start, and then once they have started, they don't know where to go from there. So there's definitely barriers, and there's just a lot that people don't know, and I've learned those things throughout my careers as an entrepreneur, but then also as an educator, and that's why I'm here to help.
So with True School, are you looking for the people that haven't even formulated that initial idea? Are you looking for people that are a little farther along, or everybody?
Actually, it's both. So I think we have a lot of fun with the entrepreneurs that are in the idea phase. At least I have a lot of fun, and I have a lot of joy in helping them kind of understand exactly where they are and where they're going. Because a lot of them, especially, my creatives, I love them, but oftentimes they have many, many different ideas, and they don't necessarily know how to create a business around their ideas. So that's one thing that we help them with, is kind of creating exactly what their business is. They know they offer many different services, but they don't know exactly what that business is. So we have those, but then we also have those that have kind of been in business for a while as well. And maybe they're at a standstill, maybe they're just not making the type of progress that they would like to make. So we're actually interested in helping those as well, and we've been successful in helping those as well. So it runs the gamut, but we would say from the startup or idea phase, startup phase, and maybe in the early growth stage.
All right. Well, for people who are watching who are in any of those phases, where do they go to learn more, maybe get signed up?
Sure, you can go to truerootmarketing.com/TrueSchool, and we're ready to help. So we have some classes starting up very soon. April 15th. The very first class is a live class. We have digital classes as well, but the first one is going to be a very live class. So ready to help, truerootmarketing.com.
All right, and that's coming up in just a couple of weeks.
It is, yeah.
All right, this is Carlotta Tutt-Holloway. Thank you so much for coming by today. Sounds like you guys are doing great things over at True School.
Thank you.
Take care. After the break, we will have a final look at Ahmed's forecast. Stay with us.